Hi, this is Barbara Haas-Givler, board-certified behavior analyst at Geisinger's Autism and Developmental Medicine Institute in Lewisburg, Pennsylvania. On behalf of the National Fragile X Foundation and their educational webinar series, I would like to present about supporting your child with Fragile X syndrome at special times. First of all, we are here for you. Your National Fragile X Foundation community knows that these times will be more challenging for you and your family. Please check the website frequently for webinars or articles to support you and your family at fragilex.org. There's a good reason airlines recommend you should put the oxygen mask on yourself before helping others. This is about first things first, care for yourself. Find a way to carve out even 20 minutes for yourself a day. Time for yourself, depending on your child. You may find it is easier to stay up later at night and maybe try yoga, meditation, or indulge in a binge-worthy guilty pleasure show. First things first also is check yourself. Your child surely will pick up on your fears and anxiety. Be honest when answering questions, but give just the right amount of discussion about these issues. In response to questions about when can we go back to school, when can we go outside, a response such as not for a few weeks, or in the case of many schools today, it may be after the summer. We know that we don't know all the answers ourselves, but at least this gives a substantial answer and helps our child with Fragile X understand that there's some bit of a concrete answer. Your child with Fragile X and his or her siblings may mirror your feelings. Once again, thinking about yourself and your child picking up on your fears and anxiety. Watch the news or review updates privately as much as possible. Some of the words that are going to be used and some of the pictures may really be more frightening to your child than need to be. First things first also is prepare yourself. Each day will be a challenge. Planning and schedule are crucial. Get dressed each day, set the example for your child and siblings. Now, when you think of it, Monday through Friday, it seems like every day is the same as the other, and the weekends as well. If you maybe want to change it up and on Saturday and Sunday, hang out in pajamas a little bit more, relaxing and changing your schedule on the weekends would be just as good as creating the schedule for the week. Have special activities. Mixing and vary the level of activities on a daily basis is very important. So sometimes that you're going to be doing more sedentary screen time, looking at videos or doing iPad or games, versus also getting up and doing some physical activity. Healthy snacks would be advised to be scheduled each day. When we're home, oftentimes we eat more, or when bored, we might eat more. So planning for some healthy snacks each day could be very helpful. Expect questions and prepare your answers. It's almost like rehearsing in your mind. How are you going to answer those questions, those challenging questions that come to you? But once again, be sure to give just the right amount of information. Listen to the question and just simply answer that question. One thing that's also important is limiting the sight of items that are reminders of activities or outings that are not available. So putting away the backpack, putting away the gym bag or the dance bag, karate, whatever items might really signal that an activity that is not available. Schedules, like why do they work? Well, they're familiar. Many of us have different types of schedules, and our children at school and students are used to having a schedule. Schedules work because they decrease anxiety. We have less anxiety when we can predict and know what is coming next. So they help with that predictability of the day. Schedules also help because it gives structure. Now we are very much, if we're inside, the whole day has very little structure. We're used to getting out and going to activities and going to school. Right now, if we're staying at home, the day we need to create a schedule that gives us structure that we are really so much need. Schedules, especially written schedules, are a nonverbal means to redirect. So if asking about what activity is coming next or when can we do something, you can answer it once, and then the next time you can point to the schedule. So it's a very nice way to redirect the person. Also, they help us move along. So if we're doing an activity that's really not as preferred, we can look at that schedule and see, oh, after this comes something else that I might be looking forward to. One thing that's important I find with many of the students that I've worked with is don't get too locked in with actual times, because if you do that, then you get clock watchers. And really, if you have the day organized from the morning to lunch and lunch to dinner and then dinner to bed, oftentimes that would be sufficient in the order that activities occur. Be sure that that schedule has fun activities sprinkled with the less preferred activities such as chores. Oftentimes I find if the child likes to see himself in a photo or in a video, this would be a really nice way to take a picture showing waking up in the morning, having breakfast, doing our natural daily activities, but then sprinkling in what our structured activities we're going to add to the day are. The schedules can be used on a whiteboard. You can use paper and pencil. You can print off the computer. With some children, depending on their levels, you might want to use the printed word or icons or actual photos or pictures of the person and or the activities. If your child doesn't like to see his or herself in a photo, then just using a picture of the bedroom or the kitchen or areas in the basement, if you have one, where you might be doing physical activities. Visual and environmental supports are also helpful in giving some structure, and it helps us to see what is expected in different locations. So we're, in terms of staying on that topic, would be in schools we often have like centers. So the kitchen in our houses, obviously that's where you cook meals, or the dining room where you might eat food, or outdoors if you have a yard. But in the house itself, you might just really mix it up and give it a little fun and have your child help you draw a picture and have areas in the house where you might do different activities. When you are not available, it might be nice to have a little sign, and you can engage your child to have a picture and maybe put a little line through it, not available, but also making sure you know who else might be available. So it might say, Mom's not available right now. Go check with Dad or Grandma or Grandpa or sister or brother. Very often we know we're going to get those perseverative, repetitive questioning. So I always feel that in the beginning, to be respectful is to answer that first time. Then the second time you might say, what did you ask me? And what did I answer? But making sure your tone is very positive. You really just want to know that the person heard you and heard the answer. Then the third time I found it successful to just jot down an answer on a card or an index card or a Post-it. And it can be a written word or a drawing. And then on that would be that answer. So I've often heard individuals say their question to themselves, and then they will pick out the card out of their pocket and read it, the answer. And that can be soothing because they've had the question and they've received the answer. Social stories or picture stories can be very useful at these difficult times. It can help your child to understand that times are different, but in some ways it is like a snow day or a power outage, or where we're on vacation from school. Siblings can help write or draw or select pictures and then also read back these social stories. Carol Gray, socialstories.com, has some good examples that are free to print off, and there may be also some that are relevant for your family situation in terms of this emergency time that we're in. What are social stories? Well, they're short, personally written, child-friendly stories. They really help describe these social situations. So one could be, why are people wearing masks? Or why are we staying home? Why do we have to wash our hands so much? So they could help describe these situations. And really, they should be written in terms of relevant social cues and defining the appropriate responses. They can also be soothing to say, we are experiencing this COVID, and they may understand that there are more germs, but we can do some things. We're doing some things such as washing our hands more, or we wear a mask, or we sneeze in our elbow. They present information while minimizing the social aspects of the grown-up or the teacher really constantly giving those interactions back. So this kind of helps create this story that really gives that perspective, and it can be helpful to keep that information meaningful. They're written at the person's comprehension level. That being said, we would think about vocabulary, the font, print, and illustrations. Positive language and a few sentences on each page is important. Then once you have it created, you have established a routine and you use it consistently. And then monitor the effectiveness and modify as needed. Some individuals really like these social stories. It's really individual to your child or your adult child. If you have accessibility with your teacher, speech language therapist, or guidance counselor at the school, they may have already prepared some or would help you print or come up with some good ideas as a group. Activities. Well, creating activities is really can be a challenge because of the time we've been, there's been a couple of weeks now. So what I would suggest is really create a few bins of materials, toys, or activities, and then put them in a Tupperware or Rubbermaid bin and alternate them on a weekly basis. Because the more you have accessibility to things, the less novel they are and the less powerful or reinforcing they may be. So this could really just help to create novelty with accessibility on an alternating basis. I find this really helpful and have each person pick favorite activities. So I've done this when I've worked with groups of children as well, but this in your family could be everyone could have a chance. That being said, be sure to have reasonable and available activities for the schedule. Jot them down, put them in a bucket or in a hat, and you can pull them out and then put them on your schedule for the day. Many of the girls and boys that I've worked with over the years have extremely good sense of humor and can really tell a good joke. So how about video and then share it with your friends or families? Have a joke time. Zoom or FaceTime for virtual play dates or visits with friends has been becoming very popular. And in some of the schools, they've been doing Zoom activities with their classmates. I've had a couple of children and that have had the feedback that they really did not really understand or were not as interested in seeing their teacher doing morning meeting on the computer or the iPad because it didn't make sense. So your child's an individual, and that would be the same with these virtual play dates or visits with friends, being sure that it's something that's meaningful and it really is a positive instance, not something that confuses things more. Jobs of the week, we know we'll have a lot more time, so finding some things that are positive but also could be a learning activity. So for meal preparation, we could have someone wear a chef hat, we could have someone take menu orders and really play restaurant. Had a couple of my guys with Fragile X that really enjoyed that as a fun activity. Cleaning can, for many children I've worked with, really enjoyed cleaning. So if you're doing it, I'd love to say, let's do some photos or videos so that we can also give feedback and positive reinforcement to say, look at what a great job you did. And it makes those jobs have more meaning. As we talk, many of the schools have websites, and there might be some school activities or regularly scheduled interactive events. So check it out. They may have some appropriate activities for you to utilize in the home. Many of the times I've noticed at holiday time or birthdays, many of the students I work with really enjoyed unwrapping the gift as much as the gift itself. So taking an idea of making a picture or a craft and then gift wrap it and either, set up a time that you're going to have a person open it up and then it makes that gift more powerful and more fun. I've worked with some students in their homes, and we did some cooking activities. And what we did was we created somewhat of a theme. So the book, if you give a moose a muffin, a very hungry caterpillar lean themselves very readily to doing a cooking activity. But then we also added, so with the moose a muffin, we made muffins. Then we took socks and did simple sock puppets. And we read the story, creating this theme and just extending and giving something more depth and relationship to what we were doing for the day. Making healthy snacks, and many of our students with Fragile X really enjoy helping in the kitchen. Well, that's a really good way to do practical math activities, your measurement. You can see measure cups, measure, put them in appropriate baggies or containers, and then you have them readily available for the day. So you have the healthy snacks with healthy portions, and it's part of the day. Having time making a tent in the living room or your family room, making believe you're camping out, flashlight, shadow puppets, some of the things that we haven't done for a while, but pulling these things out might be some things that we hadn't thought about. Creating photo diaries, the days are pretty tough for everyone being inside, but I think if we can think about the best or the most fun part of today was, and create that as like the one activity that you might do, and then either take a photo of it or a quick video of the person talking about it, could be a nice way to focus on the positive of the days. Many kids in the schools really enjoy doing like a treasure hunt in the playground and such. Well, now we could use it in the house using some simple clues, and it would help give some fun. You could have your other children, if you have, help out with writing those clues and make it a fun activity for the family. A riddle game, these are some things that could be learning but also fun. And it would be something such as hiding a familiar object or a toy in a cloth bag or a pillowcase. And so the clues could be something that would be relevant, such as it is round, it is something you can bounce, it comes in different sizes, and the person would think, oh, it's a ball. You can do that and use it, of course, in the beginning with familiar objects. Resources for you are here, do2learn.com, specialedabout.com, and interventioncentral.org. All of these have resources for you to download and create your own visual schedules and/or some ideas for charts that you might want to create. I thank you so much for today, and I appreciate all of our families and hope that everyone stays safe and well. Thank you.